Hello one all, it's My Hero Academia, chapter 283, 75. Very, very confusing title, until you realize it's referring to the fact that Shigaraki was only 75% done with his treatment and is thus still fairly unstable. And we open up with a very, very grim page as they're looking at this absolute patch of destruction and just trying to process what they're seeing, trying to realize what just happened. How many people have just died, partially because of them. And they aren't able to confirm exactly who lived, who died, who's seriously injured, because they're just too far away from the scene. But it's very clear that not everyone made it out of there alive. We do finally confirm at least that Hawks is alive, and Tokoyami managed to save a few of the doctors who have set up an emergency medical aid tent far away from the battle. I've been theorizing they had something like that for a while now. It's good to finally see it. Good to finally get some confirmation on what's going on with him. I mean, he's definitely pretty badly beaten up, but he's still alive, so that's a very good sign. Because, he knows Dabi's secret, and he can tell other people what it is. I really, really want to know what that is. And then Class 1A is deal with the fact that the only reason they're alive, the only reason that this monster didn't kill them was because he didn't view them as a threat. He didn't view them as enough of a problem where he actually had to go out of his way to kill them. And just good freaking God above. This shot of Giganto, this is his true form. What happens when he really starts using his quirks. His fingers extend into these giant claws that tear up the ground and throw it in all directions. He is a monster in every sense of the word. And the only reason they survived was because Majestic managed to send them away, to push them out of the battlefield. And god dang, his last words here. I mean, these definitely feel like last words. They feel like the kind of thing you say when you know you're about to die. Your decisions and actions were correct. You kids played this right. Whatever happens now, don't ever doubt that. Oh. I mean, it's basically saying, I know you're going to blame yourself for all this happening. I mean, if you had, aggravated him as much as you did, then he probably wouldn't have gotten this angry and started murdering all us pro heroes. I mean, you basically got all the pros killed here and now. But, don't blame yourself. You were doing what you thought was right. It's fine. It's fine. And, of course, they're wondering about why the sedative hasn't kicked in by now, which... yeah, seems pretty unlikely it's going to kick in at all, given how much he's moved since it was activated. So I'm going to say it had no effect on him. Their whole plan was basically worthless. Which I was really saying that wouldn't happen in the last couple of videos. Like, oh, there's no way this plan's not going to work. There's no way the sedative's not going to do anything. Because, I mean, what would be the point of that? Then why did they go through all this? What was all the effort for? It was for this. It was for this moment and moving forward where they realized how badly they failed. Where they realized that they failed to save the day. Where because of their actions, so many people were killed. So many heroes died. And this is going to be their motivation to push them forward. Because regardless of what happens next, the world has lost a lot of heroes. And these students need to pick up the pace. They need to be the ones who take over for them. They need to go out in the field. They need to protect the people. So they need to get stronger. They need to improve. This will be their motivation for pushing themselves to grow and become more than they are right now. To step up and become the real heroes of society. And it is just so overwhelmingly terrifying that this Mineta is the one who's thinking this. Did we do the right thing? Really? And the heroes too. Did they make the right choices? Seriously, this whole nightmare. Didn't we just make it all worse? This is coming from Mineta, the class clown, the joke. The character no one ever takes seriously. For him to have this moment, for him to really contemplate on all this devastation, destruction, it's so unnerving. It's so terrifying. It just makes it so much more real. There's no good in this scene. There is only despair. Oh my lord. And in the line about the heroes, they make the right decisions. As he says that, they flash over to Hawks. Did Hawks make the right decision while he did? I mean, I feel like he did. I feel like, killing Twice, if he hadn't, the situation would be way worse right now. Because imagine if Twice was able to clone Giganto, make 2 or 3 or 10 of him. That'd literally be the end of Japan. There'd be absolutely nothing that could be done about it. But is there something else Hawks could have done to, make this not happen? To stop the League of Villains some other way? Were his decisions right? Or did they somehow also lead to all this pain and death and despair? I mean, as we see just towns being utterly obliterated. Yeah, we see people running, but there's no way everyone managed to get out. There's no way everyone managed to evacuate. A lot of people died here. And as we see all the destruction, it's very interesting to notice that everyone in the league has a very different reaction to this. Dabi Dobby looks freaking ecstatic. He could not be happier. He's like a pig in poop. He's just so freaking happy right here. It's very, very terrifying. It really emphasizes how insane he is. Toga, for all of Toga's love of blood and violence, she does not look very happy here. Maybe because violence isn't personal enough that's bothering her. Maybe, she's still mourning the loss of Twice, so she's not really able to enjoy it. Mr. Compress seems completely unfazed by any of this, which... So many questions about that man's backstory. I know Dobby's the one we're all keeping an eye on, but Mr. Compress, there's just something different about him. There's something that concerns me. We don't know really anything about him. I definitely think there's something more to his story than we know. Just keep an eye on him, that's all I'm saying. And Spinner looks very, very sad as he looks back to all the people who are dying. I mean, he joined to make Stain's dream a reality, to make a better world, better society, and this definitely is not what he signed up for. And then the good old Doc starts monologuing again.
You don't say. He's really coming. He really has speed. If not for that one slip, Shigaraki waking up turned everything on its head. Gigantomakima is a calamity who lives and dies for his master's sake. The foot soldiers we call Nomu were modified after the big fella because every king needs soldiers, right? Good, strong ones. And now with Maki on the move, total destruction is inevitable. Shigaraki will bring the hero-saturated society crumbling down.
So yeah, the Doctor is very, very happy right now, and definitely looks like President Mike might punch him again. Which I would really love to see. Also interesting, Nomu were based off of Giganto. Very, very curious about that. Did we know that? I'm not sure if we knew that. It might have been said in a previous chapter, I'm just not remembering it. Really though, what is the Doctor's motivation for all this? He has the whole quark singularity theorem about how eventually quarks become so unstable that people can't use them. All of society ends up collapsing. So is he trying to prevent that? Is his goal to end here society and then create a new one where he's able to modify people so they can handle their quirks, or to limit quirks, or to steal the quirks that can't be controlled properly? What is his big endgame besides serving All For One and, Shigaraki, his heir? I'm curious about that. Anyway, now Shoto's here. He's given some support to Endeavor, who's definitely overheated. It was revealed in a recent chapter of Vigilantes that when Endeavor overheats, he needs at least 5 minutes before he can start using his flames again. And, his team just usually spray him with a fire extinguisher to cool him down faster to decrease that timer. I guess Shoto's doing the same thing with his ice here, trying to cool him down so he's ready for round 2, or 3, or 4. I'm not really sure what round you'd call at this point. And Bakugo is very, very angry with himself because Deku ran off without him. Maybe he's too afraid to march forward. Maybe he's annoyed that Deku was faster than him, that he was a step ahead of him. But quite frankly, he looks like he's on the verge of crying right here. Very, very angry. Aizawa is also not in great shape right now, given that he cut off his own leg and they're trying to, tourniquet it with his cloth. But it's a very, very strange substance they don't really understand. They can't really unwrap properly. Aizawa actually said it took him years to actually manage to master the material, so it certainly makes sense that they can't figure out in the span of a few seconds while they're panicking. Oh, and this shot. Oh, this shot, I love it. Deku, just run, leave, go away. No. Oh my freaking lord, this Deku, he looks like a straight villain right here, enraged, an animal, a monster, ready to tear the entire world apart, to murder his enemies. It is just such an overwhelming look of hatred and despair, and I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite shot of Deku in the entire series. And Shigaraki's response to that is just, well, time to die. Oh, I love you sometimes, Shigaraki. Not always, but sometimes. And then he gets ripped in half, and not gonna lie, when I first saw this, I really thought that Deku had unlocked a new quirk, or used his Black Whip from a distance, or he did some sort of long-range attack that managed to, nearly split him in half. But no, instead, it's just the fact that he's gone past his limits, and his body literally can't hold in the quirk anymore. He looks so confused, and he asks, what's the date today? Such a weird question to ask in the middle of a fight, but Deku understands completely what's happening here, because it's exactly what happened to him, The power is too much for him. His opponent is literally having the same weakness he had to spend the first 60-some chapters overcoming. The fact that his body can't keep up with his quirk. It's such a delicious irony. I absolutely love it. And it's all because of Mirko. Because of what she did. She managed to destroy the vat and prevent him from completing his process. Prevent him from completing his evolution to his final form. So they still have the slightest bit of a chance I mean, sure, Shigaraki still has hyper regeneration working, so he's not gonna, die from these wounds. They'll close up pretty quickly, but that's gonna take a lot of energy for him to keep healing those wounds over and over again. Eventually, it's gonna reach a point where he physically can't keep up with regeneration, and his body will just fall apart. That's what Deku is gonna go for here. If he can just keep inflicting wounds, if he can keep forcing him to push himself, sooner or later he will break. I mean, of course, there's a question of how long till Deku breaks. I'm pretty sure his one arm's already, his left arm is basically already shattered. But let's see what happens. In terms of willpower, I don't think anyone can beat Deku. And just as Shigaraki's about to use his quirk to destroy everything around him once more, Deku takes to the air, carrying literally everyone with him. Ryoku, Bakugo, Endeavor, Shoto, even Aizawa and the other two heroes, and Shigaraki, all of them in the air. I'm like, okay, Deku, you're holding them up, but how long can you really keep this going? And then I realized Deku didn't jump. He floated. He's flying. He's unlocked Shimura's quirk. The quirk of Shigaraki's grandmother, Float. And this is a very, very helpful quirk to have when your foe can destroy you by touching the ground. So as long as he can keep Shigaraki in the air, he doesn't have to worry about being instantly murdered. I mean, Shigaraki still has all his other quirks, and his strength equal that of All Might. So it's definitely not a guaranteed victory, but definitely improves its chances of not dying here, which always good. I just love this weak smile on Gran Torino's face as he thinks back to Shimura, the times he spent flying with her, the time he spent with the woman that he cared so much about. But this feels like an appropriate time and place for him to pass on after seeing her quirk one last time. Woo, that was a crazy chapter. That was a really, really crazy chapter. A lot of people died. Lots and lots of people died. Moving forward, my guess is that Giganto is going to show up and manage to rescue Shigaraki after Deku managed to be within an inch of his life, and he's going to go figure out a way to stabilize himself, figure out a way so that he doesn't die moving forward, so he can get stronger. That'll probably take him some time. Him learning to master his quirk, get stronger and stronger. Meanwhile, the rest of Class 1A and 1B, after having faced the fact that their choices led to some people being killed and murdered, and in fact there are no heroes left, they're going to, train like nobody's business, getting stronger and stronger, filling in for the missing heroes, unlocking new ways to use their quirks and their abilities, and hopefully when the time comes for the rematch against Shigaraki, they are way stronger than they are now, and they're able to, put up a better fight, actually stop Giganto. Let's see about that. Deku certainly has some explaining to do about his quirk. I mean, the whole Black Whip thing, a person having two quirks isn't that crazy. Shoto had, fire and ice, so him having super strength and the Black Whip thing makes a certain amount of sense. But adding in flying, I feel like it's a bit of a step too far. I feel like at this point, Deku might as well just tell, Class 1A the truth about All Might, the truth about the quirk being passed on. I mean, he is, the singularity. He is, I'm going to guess, either the last user or something like that. The quirk is going to evolve and change after him to something else. So I don't think it'll be as much of an issue as it was if All Might had told everyone, hey everyone, if you eat my hair, you get my powers. I also really, really want him to talk to Uraraka now, because, Float is basically her thing, her ability, her quirk. So he could definitely, like he did with Ida about the kick maneuver, he can get a lot of advice and feedback from her and figure out ways to use the power differently. And I would just absolutely love to see the two of them flying together. That'd be so freaking adorable. I love it. Alright, so like I said, Deku versus Shigaraki in the air. Deku's victory is not guaranteed, but definitely a better chance of winning up in the air. I'm curious what the others are going to do now that they're, basically being supported by Deku. I mean, Endeavor can fly. We've seen him do it in the past. He might need to cool down now before he can do it again. Bakugo, he's okay in the air. I mean, by just launching off consecutive explosions, I think he could stay airborne and manage to take him out. I don't think we've ever actually seen Shoto flying in the past, but, he's Endeavor's son. He has Endeavor's fire, so I'm sure he could do it. I'm not really sure. I mean, they're being supported by the Black Whip now. Are they going to continue to be? Is he going to keep, a perch open for them so they can go back and rest to it when they need to? Are they going to fight midair? A lot of questions about how this fight's going to go, but please, let me think all this down below. Deku versus Shigaraki midair. How long can he keep up the flying before he runs out of energy? How long can Shigaraki go before his body literally starts collapsing on itself? What's Class 1A and B going to do back at the mansion now that, they've let Giganto get away and they've utterly, utterly lost? Not a whole lot they can do at this point. the rest of Class 1A and B that were, there for the hospital mission. Are they going to go after Giganto now? Are they going to somehow try to slow him down, try to stop him, try to keep him from killing as many people as he is right now? Not sure about that. And yeah, let me think of all that down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to this next video. Seems like it's off next week, but then it's coming back next Friday instead of Sunday. That's a little weird, but it happens sometimes. So be sure to look out for my video probably on Saturday. I'll get it up, if not Friday. But yeah. Until then, peace.